Hey guys, so today we're going to start Unit 2 in math. We just had our first unit test over Unit 1 and now we're getting into Unit 2. Unit 2 is going to be about rounding numbers, adding and subtracting whole numbers, and decimals. So today we're going to start with rounding numbers. So I'm going to go over these notes with you and then go over your assignment with you about rounding numbers. Okay, so look at these numbers. This set we're going to round to the nearest 10,000. In this set, we're going to round to the nearest 100,000s. Now, I'm sure you've been taught the way where you underline the place that you're rounding to and draw an arrow to its neighbor because its neighbor helps it round up or round down, which is a good way to start practicing rounding when you're just learning it. But now that we're getting into bigger numbers, we're kind of going to move away from that and use a number line. Now, when I say use a number line, I don't mean you're going to have to draw a number line every time you round, but you need to imagine this number line in your head, okay? So here we are going to round to the nearest 10,000. So we do look to see what's in the 10,000s place, and it's 3, and it's worth 30,000. So that's the first number we imagine on our number line, 30,000. Then we look at, we think, okay, well, this is 34,000. We know it's going to be in between 30,000 and 40,000. Okay, that's how we need to think of it. That this number is 34,000. It's in between 30 and 40,000. All right, so now we just think to ourselves, is 34 closer to 30 or closer to 40? Well, 34 is closer to 30. So this number to the nearest 10,000 rounds to 30,000. Okay, it rounds down to 30,000. Okay, on our next one, we're still rounding to the 10,000s place, and you can still underline that place. That's fine, but we're not going to do the whole arrow to the neighbor, and see what rounds up and what rounds down. So this 4 is worth 40,000, so that's the first number we write on our number line, or like I said, you think about it on your number line, 40,000. Okay, and the next 10,000 on the number line would be 50,000. Okay, because 47,000 is in between 40 and 50,000. So let's think, is 47,000 closer to 50,000 or closer to 40,000? Okay, well, it's closer to 50,000. All right, so we're going to do one more with our 10,000s, then we're going to move over to our 100,000s. Okay, so we're still rounding to the 10,000s, which is 2. Okay, and that's 100. This is 20,000, but we're going to think of it as 120,000. Okay, and the next 10,000 on the number line would be 130,000. Okay, so now let's think. Is 124,000 closer to 120 or 130? Well, 124 is closer to 120,000. And that's how we're using our number line to help us round. Okay, we're going to imagine the two 10,000s, it's in between, and then see which one it's closest to. Now, like I said, you're not going to have to draw a number line every time, but you can think about this. Okay, like think, oh, 34,000 is in between 30,000 and 40,000. It's closer to 30,000. Okay, all right, let's go to this next set. Okay, we're now rounding to the 100,000s place. Okay, so let's look at this number. Is there anything in the 100,000s place? No, so it's 0. There's nothing there, so it's 0. And if I were to count to the next 100,000s on the number line, the number over here would be 100,000. Okay, so now we think, is 90,000 closer to 0 or closer to 100? Well, it's obviously closer to 100. Okay, so next we have 145,000. We're still rounding to the 100,000s place, so there's a 1 there, so that's our first number on the number line, 100,000. If I were to count to the next 100,000, it'd be 200,000. Okay, so then I think, is 145 closer to 100 or 200? Okay, 100 or 200? 145 is closer to 100 on the number line. So this number would round to 100,000. Okay, next, let's go over this one. So the 3 is in the 100,000. So the first number I write on my number line is 300,000. Okay, if I were to count by 100,000s on this number line, the next number would be 400,000. Okay, so then I think, is 365,000 closer to 300 or 400? Well, 365 is closer to 400. Okay, so now what I want you to do is go get a piece of scrap paper, and I want you to solve the last two on each of these columns. So solve these two for rounding to the nearest 10,000. Solve these two rounding to the nearest 100,000. Pause the video, go solve those four, and when you're done, click play again, and I'll give you the answers and we'll go over them. Okay, so welcome back. So for this one, we were rounding to the nearest 10,000. Okay, so I have on my number line, this is my 10,000s place, so that's 890,000. If I were to count 10,000 more on the number line, it would be 900,000. So then I think, is 892 closer to 890 or 900? Well, it's closer to 890. Okay, this one is still using our 10,000s place, so we're looking at the 30,000 right here. And whenever I have a big number like this and I'm rounding kind of far into it, I would like to write just the 30,000 and then put these two numbers, and I call these two numbers my friends in the front. So if you have a big number like this and you're rounded to the 10,000s, you could have just written 30,000 and then just written the friends in the front, which is the 1 and the 2. Okay, so we have 30,000 and then 40,000. So is this 35 right here closer to 30 or 40? Okay, remember a 5 helps round up, so it's actually closer to 1,240,000. Okay, and our last two over here, we're rounding to the 100,000s on this column, remember? So this is 900,000. If I were to count 100,000 more on the number line, it would take me to 1,000,000. So that's why I put 1,000,000 over here. Okay, then I think, is 994,000 going to be closer to 900,000 or 1,000,000? Well, it's only 6,000 away from 1,000,000, so it's closer to 1,000,000. Okay, then on this one we have the 6, which is 600,000, and then the 2 is my friend in the front. So 600,000 and 700,000. So then I think 674, is that closer to 600 or closer to 700? Well, 674 is closer to 700, so that whole number rounded to the 100,000s is 2,700,000. Like I said, the reason we do it this way is y'all need to think about the numbers on a number line, and especially when we get down to these bigger numbers, if you're just looking at the place you're rounding and its neighbor, you could get really confused on how many zeros you write or things like that. So that's why we need to start thinking of rounding numbers on a number line. And like I said, you can draw your number line, but you don't have to. You can think of this in your head. Okay? So, and we're going to do this again on Monday. We're going to do more rounding practice on Mondays. This is just the beginning. So, on your work for today, under rounding practice, okay, we have some Google Slides. I'm going to walk you through. Okay, so here are Google Slides. Put your name, put today's date. Okay, so there, each slide has a set of directions right there for telling you what to do. So here are these X's that you can drag and drop. So it says place an X next to the number that rounded to 530 when rounded to the nearest 10. So you look here and see, if I round all these to the nearest 10, which ones would round to the nearest to 530? And that's where I put drag and drop the X, okay? If you delete an X, like always, just click your undo button. If it's not undoing, you can click the X, right click, copy it, right click again, and paste it and get another one. So if you need another one, okay? So that's how number 1's like that, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 is a sort. Okay, so here are the directions of the category. So the number rounds to 226,000 when rounded to the nearest 1,000. Sort those numbers and the ones that round to the 25,000. That's number 6. Number 7. Okay, here's the original number. Here's the new number, and you're going to tell me whether it was rounded to the nearest 10 or rounded to the nearest 100. So you're going to put the X to show. Okay, I'll need another X. There's another X. Same thing for here. Okay, there's all your X's. So you're going to tell me here if this original number, here's the new number, you're going to tell me with the X if you think it was rounded to the nearest 1,000 or 10,000. Okay, going on to number 9. You're going to round round the number to the nearest 10. Type your answer in the first box for this part. Then round it again to the nearest 100. Type it in that box. And if your text box disappears, hit undo. Or if you still can't get it back, this little T right here adds a new text box for you. Okay, so if you delete your text box and can't get it back, that's how you do it. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 are the same type make okay? All right, so that's all you have in math today. Make sure you have extra math done as well. And make sure when you're done with the slides, you X out and go turn it in on the classroom and let Mrs. Raessler or I know if you have any questions. All right, y'all have a great day and have a great weekend.